Dr. Wayne Dyer has been credited with saying that you cannot always control what goes on outside, but you can always control what goes on inside. What is he talking about here? We're talking about your own reactions and how you perceive what goes on around you and how you react to what goes on around you. Throughout all of these videos, you already know that the main goal is a proper stress management approach to everyday stressors, big or small, everyday or infrequent, whatever the stressors that you're dealing with. Your best bet of surviving stress is to have as many tools in your toolbox as possible. And that's what these videos are about. So as we talk about adding more tools to your toolbox, let's think about what ways you can either prevent some of the stressors or deal with them more effectively as they come up. And remember that the more you practice proper stress management, the better you'll get at it. It's just like anything else in life. The more you practice, the better you get at it. One of the ways that you can help to prevent stressors and reduce stress in your life is planning. And I understand that this will resonate more with some people than other people. Some people are natural planners. Some people don't really do well in terms of planning, and others fall somewhere in between those two. The idea here is this: if you are naturally prone to planning, or if you don't have an aversion to planning, give planning out your day a chance. If you plan out your day, even if things go wrong, at least you have some idea of where you're going. For many, if they don't have a plan, at least a preliminary or a tentative plan, things can get too chaotic too quickly, and that can lead to unnecessary stress. And as you're exploring planning, so planning for your day or planning for your week, you can have all kinds of plans that you engage in. Make sure you keep in mind the importance of prioritizing. Understanding what takes priority over other things is key here, because if you don't understand what is more important in terms of priority, you can easily focus on things that really are pretty low on the list of priorities, waste time, waste your effort, and then face a mountain of stressors because you didn't take care of those things that really were high on the priority list, simply because you failed to prioritize things properly. The other thing when it comes to prioritizing, it's important to remember not everything can be number one on your priority list. I know some of you are out there that are just like that you think that multiple things are number one on your list of priorities. For some, everything is equally important. And while there may be some truth to it, if you really want to argue about it, the idea here is to be able to pick what needs to get done when and assign a certain level of priority to it so that you're not lost within your own list of things to do or your own list of responsibilities, which in itself can be very stressful if it's not properly organized. That's why planning and beyond planning, prioritizing are great tools to have when you're working on effectively and properly managing the stress in your life. Something else that I want you to remember is stay away from multitasking. Now, I understand that some of you will object to this very idea, this very suggestion, because after all, we live in a very fast-paced world where information comes at us very fast from many directions, virtually the entire time that we're awake. Either we have information coming at us or we have somebody asking something of us. And that in itself can make it very tempting to engage in multitasking. But despite of its lure, despite of it being tempting, understand that true multitasking doesn't exist in the way that we want to engage in it, meaning that we are not really doing multiple things at once, but rather we are very quickly switching back and forth between the different tasks, and that makes us considerably less efficient. Now, of course, there are some things that you can argue are successful multitasking. You could argue that. Maybe you're talking on the phone while you're driving, but you know what? If you're honest with yourself, you probably can recall an instance where you stopped paying attention to your driving because you were so engrossed in your telephone conversation. So again, true multitasking in the way that we're trying to achieve it really doesn't exist and is not very helpful. So I would strongly encourage you to move away from the idea of multitasking. It may sound good, it may look good, it may impress some people, but you're not being very efficient with your time and efforts. So instead, what I recommend to you is fully focusing on the task at hand for a certain period of time and then taking a break, giving your body and your mind a break from that task. So what does this mean? And there are different schools of thoughts on this in terms of timing. So some say work for 25 minutes very intensely, full focus on whatever the task at hand is, and then take a 5-minute break where you actually get away, stand up, get away, move away from your computer if this is computer work, for example. Give your eyes a break, give your mind a break, give your body a break. Some say work for 50 minutes and take a 10-minute break. Some say to work as long as 90 minutes at a time and then take, let's say, a 15 or 20-minute break. You will have to figure out what works best for you, and you may find that you're not necessarily limited to picking one of those, but rather different situations may call for different timing approaches. So sometimes it may be best if you work for 25 minutes at a time with 5-minute breaks in between. Other times you may be able to do 90 minutes and then have a 15 or 20-minute break. You have to hone into each particular situation for yourself and what works best for you. But the idea here is that while you're giving your focus to that one particular task, you are giving 100% of your focus. You're not answering phones at the same time. You're not doing emails at the same time that you're trying to do this other task. You are not talking to people at the same time. You're not doing anything else but strictly focusing on one task. So you will get much more accomplished because now we're going for that laser focus where we're not distracted by other things, and there's no need to multitask because you're really hitting it hard when you are focused and getting as much done as possible. Again, this is a great way of getting things done, which is a good potential for managing stress and reducing stress, right? When you get things done, you don't have to be stressed out about it. But you don't fall into the pitfall of multitasking and the false promise of multitasking and its success. And the last thing I'll mention in this video is working during the time of day when you're most productive. And I know that this isn't always possible, especially if you have a 9-to-5 job, but your most productive time is, let's say, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Some people just get that second wind and they are most focused and most energetic in the evening. Other people are best first thing in the morning, some do really well mid-morning. So if you don't already know what your best and most productive time is, it would be a good idea to figure that out for yourself. Because when you know that, and if you start to implement that into your life experience, you can get things done in a very effective and efficient way during that particular window of time. And again, I know that it's not going to be possible for everybody all the time, because if you have to be at work during the 9 to 5 and your most productive time is in the evening, you may have to juggle some things and maybe adjust your schedule if at all possible. But you can apply that window of productivity, window of your best, to other things in your life. So you could apply this to work situations, you can apply this to non-work situations. But again, figure out when your best time during that 24-hour time period is, and make sure you use it to its fullest. Don't waste that gift. If you are most productive and come up with most creative, brilliant solutions or ideas between 7 p.m. and 10 p.m., don't waste that time binge watching Netflix or Prime or YouTube or whatever the case may be, but rather use that time, use that gift for something productive. And that in itself can be a time saver. That in itself can be a great way of preventing or reducing stress in your life, rather than struggling during all the wrong times of day when you're least productive. It's kind of like if you're not a morning person and you decide to go to the gym every day at 5 or 6 in the morning, how long is that going to last? And if it lasts, how happy are you going to be during your time at the gym? You'll probably be kind of cranky and miserable. So again, if your best time to work out is at 8 p.m., then go to the gym at 8 p.m. and have a blast, right? Do something with your own understanding of when you are the most powerful. And that is a great way to help you reduce and better manage stress in your life. If you'd like to learn more about a comprehensive approach to stress management, check out the link below.